You've heard of the boogeyman Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, but have you heard of the lesbian deathbed? No? Well, buckle up. So what's this mysterious creature lurking in the shadows of our shared cultural consciousness? It's a myth, a stereotype suggesting that lesbian relationships over the age of 40 suffer from a lack of intimacy. Picture it like this. Two women, blissfully in love, reaching the ripe age of 40, and suddenly, poof! The romance vanishes, leaving nothing but cold, hard sheets in its wake. Sounds like a chilling tale straight out of a Grimm's fairy tale, doesn't it? But here's the twist. Much like our friend Bigfoot, this myth, although widely believed, lacks solid evidence. It's based more on stereotypes and less on actual lived experiences. It's a narrative spun from thin air, a tale told by those who don't know better. So is the lesbian deathbed real, or is it just a myth? Stick around to find out. Who better to debunk this myth than the experts themselves, lesbian couples over 40? When it comes to busting myths, we've got the best team in the biz. These couples have been navigating their relationships for decades, and they're here to share their wisdom with us. Over a series of lighthearted interviews, we've had the pleasure of hearing their hilarious anecdotes and tidbits of wisdom. One of the questions we often asked was, so, when exactly did your relationship turn into a deathbed? The responses were as varied as they were amusing. One couple, with a twinkle in their eyes, stated, well, if by deathbed you mean we now prefer watching Netflix over clubbing, then guilty as charged. Another couple shared, if a deathbed means we've stopped arguing about who left the cap off the toothpaste, then yes, we're in a perpetual state of blissful death. Laughter ensued, and it became clear that the so-called deathbed was nothing more than a myth. Yet another pair quipped, our relationship became a deathbed when we started arguing about who gets to control the TV remote. The room erupted in laughter as we all recognized the universal truth in their words. One of the couples, with a mischievous grin, shared, if by deathbed you mean we've traded wild parties for quiet evenings with a good book and a glass of wine, then we've been dead for years. Their laughter echoed through the room, proving that the deathbed was a myth and that their love was very much alive. Humor was the common thread in all these conversations. It's evident that these couples have found their rhythm, their comfort, their deathbed in each other's company. They've debunked the myth not with arguments or debates, but with laughter and love. So there you have it, straight from the horse's mouth, or should we say straight from the deathbed. Now that we've heard from the experts, what's the verdict on the lesbian deathbed? Well, folks, it's been a roller coaster ride of insights, hasn't it? We've heard laughter, love, and let's not forget those hilarious anecdotes. Each story has woven a tapestry that's vibrant, unique, and brimming with life. And what's the one thread that runs through them all? The debunking of that pesky myth we've all heard about, the lesbian deathbed. These couples have shown us that love doesn't come with an expiration date. Their relationships have evolved, matured, and blossomed over the years, just like any other. They've proven that the lesbian deathbed is simply a stereotype, a myth, a figment of societal imagination. So after hearing their testimonies, we can confidently conclude that the lesbian deathbed is about as real as a leprechaun's pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. Now that we've laid the lesbian deathbed to rest, we want to hear from you. We're all about challenging the status quo, laughing in the face of stereotypes, and fostering understanding through conversation. So let's make this a dialogue, not a monologue. Perhaps you've heard of this myth before, or maybe it's your first time. Either way, we want to know what you think. Have you got a hilarious anecdote about the time Aunt Susan brought it up at Thanksgiving? Or maybe you've got a thought-provoking insight into why these myths continue to persist. Whatever your story, we're all ears. Remember, every shared experience or thought adds a layer to our collective understanding. It's through these exchanges that we break down barriers, challenge preconceptions, and encourage acceptance. So, what are your thoughts on the lesbian deathbed? Share your stories, your laughs, your myths. Let's put an end to stereotypes, one laugh at a time.